I heard my wife drunkenly laugh with her friends. He's too dumb to know I've been cheating for years. They all cracked up like it was comedy gold. I said nothing. But days later, when she showed up crying at my door, she walked into a storm she never saw coming. I'm 35, by the way. Never thought I'd be one of those guys sharing his story on a subreddit like this, but here we are. Strap in, because it's a hell of a ride. So here's what went down. Last weekend, I was supposed to be out of town with the guys. We had this overnight trip planned to catch a game a couple states away, had it in the books for months. But at the last minute, Marcus's kid got sick, so we had to call the whole thing off. No big deal, right? Life happens. I figured, hey, why not make the most of it and surprise my wife, Rachel. She's 31, and we've been married for 7 years. Thought she'd be happy to see me early. And yeah, I get it, these surprise visit stories never end well. But believe me, what I stumbled into was worse than walking in on her with another guy. I pulled into the driveway around 8 p.m. and immediately noticed a few cars I recognized. Michelle's old Mitsubishi, Jasmine's little Toyota. Rachel had mentioned she was having a girls' night while I was gone, so at first it all seemed normal. I was about to head in through the front door, but I heard them out on the back deck, laughing loud enough to echo through the side gate. That kind of loud where you just know the wine's been flowing. I was gonna go around back and say hello, just pop in and surprise them, but then I heard my name. That stopped me in my tracks. Just had a feeling, you know? So I paused, listened. Logan is just so. I can't even, Rachel mumbled, her words loose and sloppy from the booze. The girls broke into giggles. I still can't believe you've kept this going so long, Michelle chimed in. Then I heard it clear as day. He's too stupid to realize I've been cheating for years, Rachel practically shouted. And again, the whole group exploded in laughter. I literally froze mid-step. My mind just stopped working. Like someone unplugged me. Sudden's the best decision I ever made, she kept going. Last week, while Logan was working late, Travis came over and we did it right there on the couch, yeah, the one where he takes his little naps. More cackling. Oh no, not the sacred nap couch. Jasmine shrieked like it was some kind of comedy show. And the next morning, Rachel kept going, he made me breakfast like nothing ever happened. If he only knew what his sweet little wife was doing the night before. Man, my stomach dropped out like I'd taken a punch to the gut. That breakfast? I remember it clearly. I made her avocado toast, her favorite, and those stupid fancy eggs she loves. Even brought her coffee in bed. I told her I loved her that morning. Can you believe that? I don't know how long I stood there, listening to them swap stories like it was all just harmless fun. My whole body was trembling. That night, I learned a whole lot I never wanted to know. Found out she used my work trips as a green light to invite Travis over. Found out they'd been sleeping together for over 3 damn years. Hell, even the weekend my dad died when she claimed she had food poisoning and couldn't come to the funeral, yeah, she was with him. I didn't storm in. Didn't yell. Didn't let them know I'd heard anything. I just turned around, walked back to my car, and drove off in silence. I ended up in a Target parking lot, sitting there for what felt like forever, trying to catch my breath. I must have looked crazy, just some guy in a car, gasping for air on a Saturday night. When I could finally think again, well, somewhat, I called Marcus. Thankfully, his kid was feeling better and he answered right away. Man, I told him, my whole damn life just blew up. He didn't even hesitate. Don't go back there tonight, he said. Come stay here. We'll figure this out. At Marcus's place, I couldn't sit still. I paced his living room for hours while he sat there looking up divorce lawyers on his laptop. And in my head, I just kept replaying everything. All these weird little moments from the past few years that suddenly made sense. The girls' trips where she barely took any photos. The way she always left her phone face down. Random hotel charges from places just 30 minutes away. All those late-night showings for work. I felt like the biggest sucker alive. At around 3 a.m. she texted me. Girls are all asleep here. Hope you're having fun with the guys. Love you. I damn near threw my phone at the wall. The nerve. You've got to be smart, Marcus said, taking the phone out of my hands. Don't say anything yet. Don't tip her off. So that's what I did. The next morning, I acted like nothing was wrong. Told her I crashed at Marcus's after a few too many drinks. She totally bought it. Even had the gall to whine about how hungover she was and how she had to clean up after her friends. From that point on, I went into full recon mode. When she was in the shower, I dug through her phone. Thousands of messages between her and Sutton going back years. Hotel bookings. Dirty pictures. I screenshotted it all and emailed it to myself. Then I went through her finances. Found hundreds of charges for dinners I never ate. Lingerie I'd never seen. She even used our joint account to book a weekend with him during my dad's funeral. Every single discovery felt like another gut punch. 8 years of marriage. All the times I stood up for her when my family said she was self-centered. All the hopes we talked about, starting a family, growing old together. All just lies. I met with the most ruthless divorce attorney I could find on my lunch break. She didn't sugarcoat it. Document everything. Lock down your finances. Be ready. She looked me right in the eye and said, I see this every day. You're smart not to confront her yet. The more you prepare, the better chance you have. That night, I sat on the couch next to Rachel while she laughed at something on her phone, probably texting him. And something inside me shifted. The heartbreak was still there, sure, but it wasn't burning anymore. It felt cold now. Focused. I didn't just want out, I wanted her to pay for what she did. Rachel cared more than anything about how people saw her. She built her whole image around being that perfect wife, the one everyone admired on Instagram. The woman people turned to for advice, the wise friend in the group. But I had the truth now. And I was gonna use it. I started taking steps. Moved half our savings into a private account. Locked down anything important. Took inventory of every valuable thing in the house. My lawyer's checklist became my new religion. And the whole time I played the role. Kissed her goodbye in the mornings. Asked how her day went. Sat next to her on the couch while she messaged Travis right in front of me. For 2 weeks, I wore the mask of the clueless husband while secretly preparing to tear her entire world apart. And when everything was in place, I was ready. I had everything lined up, bank statements, rock-solid proof of her affair, and a signed lease for a new apartment already paid for and waiting. My family was behind me 100%. They were completely floored when I told them what she'd done. Still, the hardest part wasn't gathering evidence or getting out, it was keeping my cool every night when she'd look me in the eye and lie straight to my face. When she'd tell me, I love you, before rolling over to sleep. When she brought up trying for a baby next month like it was the next logical step. Every single time, I wanted to lose it, to scream, to call her out right then and there. But I didn't. I stayed calm. Because unlike her, I had a plan. The same woman who sat there laughing about how clueless I was? Yeah, she had no idea she was dealing with a man who was about to become the most deliberate, calculating, and relentless force in her life. And I wasn't about to cut corners. I was gonna do this by the book, completely legal, airtight, no loose ends. TLDR? Overheard my wife gloating about cheating on me for years. Instead of confronting her in the moment, I've been quietly stacking evidence and prepping a divorce playbook that would make a military strategist proud. The countdown to D-Day had officially started. Update. Okay, first off, holy hell. I didn't expect my original post to blow up like it did. The support? Unreal. The Reddit gold? Didn't even know that was still a thing, appreciate it. For those wondering if this is some kind of writing exercise, believe me, I wish it was fiction. But nope, this is my life right now. It's been 3 weeks since that first post and man, things have escalated. So here's the latest. Buckle up. Remember that plan I mentioned? I've been executing it with clockwork precision. The very next day after I posted, Rachel's behavior suddenly changed. Out of nowhere, she started being nice, making my favorite meals, initiating sex, even talking about moving to a better neighborhood. At first, I thought maybe she'd found out somehow. But then it hit me, it was the guilt. Classic cheater moves. I'd been reading through late-night Reddit threads like they were gospel, and this was textbook behavior. Here's how I handled it. Finances first. That was my top priority. I'd already moved half of our joint savings into an account under my name. Then I went line by line through every bank and credit card statement. Those hotel stays? Itemized and dated. The client dinners that were actually romantic evenings with Sutton? Logged and cross-referenced with receipts. Even the lingerie she bought to wear for him, yeah, I snapped photos of those receipts too. My attorney called it dissipation of marital assets. Basically, she used our money to fund her affair. That alone could swing the divorce heavily in my favor. I froze our joint credit cards under the pretense of suspicious activity. Not a lie, the bank really was sending new cards. Gave me a clean window to remove her as an authorized user on my main account. When her card got declined at Sephora, priceless, she called me up, raging about how humiliating it was. I played it cool. Must be a delay from the bank, babe. Property stuff. Quietly, I began moving out anything important. Not all at once, just essentials. My dad's old watch, sentimental stuff, legal documents, family photos. I did it while she was out showing houses, aka probably with Sutton. Each time I moved something out, I covered my tracks, swapped in cheap replacements or shifted things around to make it look untouched. The evidence file. That's where Marcus really came through. We put together what we started calling the nuclear file. It had everything: screenshots of her texts, photos, receipts, credit card history, a full timeline of the affair, and even audio recordings of her calls with Sutton. We live in a one-party consent state, so I was fully within my rights to hit record. I made multiple backup copies. One for me, one for my lawyer, one for Sutton's wife. Yep, I found her. Her name's Danielle. Seems like a good person, and man, she had no idea. I even prepped one copy for Rachel's parents. That part wasn't about revenge. I respected them. Still do. They needed to know who their daughter really was. The social angle. This part had to be handled carefully. I didn't want Rachel twisting the story and making me the villain. So I started gently nudging things with mutual friends. Casual conversations. Stuff like, "You ever feel like your marriage is just off?" Or, "Rachel seems distant lately, doesn't she?" Planted enough doubt that when the truth came out, people would look back and connect the dots themselves. I also documented her Instagram posts. How she paraded our perfect life online while sneaking around behind my back. The hypocrisy was wild. D-Day. I picked the day on purpose. Rachel had this big event she'd been organizing for months. A fancy appreciation thing for her top clients. Real high-profile stuff. The morning of, I acted like nothing was going on. Made us coffee. Kissed her goodbye. Wished her luck. She walked out the door beaming. Dressed in that overpriced outfit I now realized I'd unintentionally paid for so she could look good for another man. At exactly 9 a.m., I sent the full evidence package to Danielle, Sutton's wife. Had it delivered by courier. Included a note with my number in case she wanted to talk. By noon, it was chaos. I was in my new apartment when the texts started blowing up. "Why is Sutton's wife calling me? Did you tell her? Pick up your fucking phone." I didn't answer, just watched it all unravel in real time. Eventually, Danielle called me. We talked for nearly an hour. She was crushed, but also weirdly relieved. Turns out, Travis had been gaslighting her for years, making her feel crazy every time she got suspicious. She thanked me, told me Travis was already trying to save his marriage by throwing Rachel straight under the bus. By 3 p.m., Rachel's event was a disaster. She had to bail midway because of the emergency. She kept calling me, over and over. At 4 p.m., I sent a short, straight-to-the-point email to her parents. No drama, just a clear timeline of events and the proof attached. I made it clear I wasn't doing it to hurt them, but I couldn't let Rachel spin lies. By 7 p.m., I was sitting calmly in our living room when she came home. Mascara streaked down her face, her hair a mess. She looked like someone who'd aged a decade in a single day. She started off angry. How dare I tell Danielle? How could I betray her like this? Then came the desperation. Bargaining, crying, flirting, more crying. I didn't flinch. I just looked her in the eye and said, "We both know exactly what's going on." Then I handed her the divorce papers. She went pale. That's when it hit her. This wasn't some impulsive meltdown. I've been planning this, preparing it, while she slept beside me every night thinking I was still in the dark. She started looking around the room and noticed a few of my things were missing. I told her I'd already moved out. She had 3 days to figure out her next move before I contacted the landlord. Our lease had a morality clause, another fun little detail my lawyer pointed out. The next few days, let's just say, she started to unravel. She swung back and forth between threats and pleas. "You'll never get away with this." That was her first reaction. Then came the desperate begging. "We can fix this." It didn't mean anything. It was only physical. "I've always loved you." And, of course, the classic attempt to flip the script. "I was lonely. You were never home. You work too much." Meanwhile, the world she'd carefully constructed around herself was unraveling in real time. Her so-called friends? Michelle and Jasmine? They went radio silent once they realized they might get pulled into this mess. They weren't about to go down with the ship. Her parents? They called her. Let's just say it wasn't a warm, supportive check-in. Her mom ended up calling me to apologize. She actually said, "I don't know who my daughter has become. As for Sutton, that spineless bastard, he went straight into panic mode. Threw Rachel under the bus so fast it made my head spin. Told his wife that Rachel was obsessed with him, that she wouldn't leave him alone, that he was the victim. Then the money side of things hit her square in the face. Half our savings, gone, legally moved into my new account. Her access to our joint credit lines, cut off, cold. And that apartment we shared? She suddenly realized she couldn't afford it on her own. The disaster at her event meant she'd probably lost a few major clients too. That was the final blow, her carefully curated image as the polished, successful woman people looked up to, gone. Word got out. I didn't go blabbing, but Danielle, Sutton's wife, shared her story with a few close friends, who told theirs and so on. By the end of the week, our entire social circle knew the truth. Rachel had built her identity on being admired. She'd lived for it. And now it was all crashing down. Then last night she showed up at my new place. I wasn't shocked. Figured it was only a matter of time. She probably got the address from a friend who works over at the leasing office across town. She was a wreck. Red-faced, sobbing, mascara streaked like war paint. Just standing there on my doorstep like someone who'd been dropped out of a moving car. For a second, just a second, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. I let her in, mostly because I didn't want the neighbors watching. I'm not a fan of scenes. She barely made it 2 steps inside before she started rambling. Said she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. That she'd give anything to undo it. That she couldn't believe she'd risked our marriage for a guy like Sutton. I looked her right in the eye and said, "Remember that night you told your friends I was too stupid to realize you were cheating?" Yeah. Surprise. The look on her face, man. There's no way to really describe it. It was like she'd been struck by lightning. Shock first, then dread, then pure shame. She tried to brush it off. Blamed the booze, said she didn't mean it. That it was just stupid talk. I didn't let her finish. "Sit down," I told her. "You need to see this." And that's when I handed her the truth. The cold, hard numbers. A full breakdown of her new financial reality. Spreadsheets, charts, forecasts. Every number that added up to one simple truth. She'd set fire to her future, and I wasn't going to be the one to pay for it. TLDR. The plan? Flawless. Her affair? Exposed. Finances? Locked down tight. Her reputation? In free fall. She came crying for forgiveness and walked into a wall of math instead. Final update. 6 months later. First off, thanks to everyone who checked in. Yes, I'm still here. Took some time away to clear my head before wrapping up this saga. Ever see one of those videos where they demolish an old building with carefully placed explosions? Tiny charges at just the right places and then boom, the whole thing collapses in on itself? That's exactly what happened to Rachel's life. And I had front row seats. The morning after she showed up at my apartment, I woke up peaceful. For the first time in what felt like forever, I didn't jolt awake at 3 a.m. with a knot in my chest. I brewed coffee, scrolled Reddit, and realized something. I didn't check my phone, expecting another avalanche of texts from her. That was progress. As for Rachel, according to my therapist, she entered what he called consequences culture. She left my apartment and drove to Michelle's house, expecting her bestie to take her in. Ethan, our mutual friend, later told me Michelle straight up pretended not to be home. Lights on. Car in the driveway. Didn't open the door. That's friendship for you. The legal side of things. Honestly, the divorce itself went smoother than I expected. Mostly because my lawyer was a beast. Worth every damn dollar. In mediation, Rachel tried the whole one mistake shouldn't erase 8 years of marriage routine. The mediator, a sharp older woman with no tolerance for BS, looked her dead in the eye and asked, "Would you consider 3 years of infidelity one mistake?" When the crying didn't work, Rachel threatened to slander me. Said she'd tell people I was abusive, that I was the toxic one. My lawyer didn't flinch. Just slid a few choice photos of her and Travis across the table and reminded everyone that Maryland takes adultery into account when it comes to alimony. Rachel shut up real fast. 2 weeks later, we had a settlement. I walked away with my retirement savings and most of our assets. She got just enough to survive, but nowhere near the cushy lifestyle she was used to. Even the judge said she was lucky considering the circumstances. The fallout. This was hard to watch, even for me. Rachel had to move back in with her parents. Not into a cool guest house or anything, just into her childhood bedroom, complete with twin bed and faded floral wallpaper. She tried to fake it on Instagram for a while. All those vague quotes about growth and healing, lots of strategically cropped photos. But people noticed. When you go from brunch selfies in high-rises to throwback Thursday posts every week, folks start asking questions. Things went downhill fast when she lost her job. Not because of the affair, her boss didn't care about that, but because she kept showing up late. Missing deadlines. Probably depression. Can't say I didn't understand that part. Social fallout. This was the most interesting to watch. Our social group split like a fault line. Team Logan was solid. Marcus, of course. Ethan and his wife. Most of my coworkers. Even Rachel's cousin Kelsey, who apparently always thought Rachel was selfish but didn't want to stir the pot. Team Rachel started out as just her parents, though even they were keeping some distance according to what I heard. Eventually, she reconnected with Jasmine, who had gone through a nasty divorce herself and was deep into a men are trash phase. Misery loves company, I guess. Team Nobody made up the majority. Most people just backed away quietly. I get it. No one wants to be caught in the middle of a messy divorce. The last twist I didn't expect? Michelle. After vanishing on Rachel the minute things got messy, she reached out to me on Facebook. Wanted to check in, said she was thinking about me, asked if I wanted to meet for coffee sometime. I turned her down. I don't know, something about the way she bailed the second Rachel's life started falling apart didn't sit right with me. It felt like she wasn't reaching out because she cared. More like she wanted to be on the right side of the story once the dust settled. Travis and Danielle? Danielle and I actually stayed in touch, not romantically or anything like that. We were just two people trying to process the same kind of betrayal. Every few weeks, we'd grab lunch, vent, share updates. Sutton, meanwhile, went full cliché. Tried every reconciliation stunt in the book, showed up outside her place holding a boombox, sent massive bouquets to her office, even tried dragging their pastor into it. None of it worked. Danielle filed for divorce 3 weeks after D-Day and moved in with her sister out in Pennsylvania. Last I heard, she's seeing a kindergarten teacher who volunteers as a Little League coach. Honestly? Good for her. Travis even tried to reach out to me. Sent this long-winded text trying to paint us both as victims, claiming Rachel had chased him, that he never wanted to get involved. I replied with one word, sure. Felt both dismissive and perfectly appropriate. My own recovery. This part's harder to talk about. The first month after I moved out, I basically became a ghost of myself. Just worked, came home, ordered DoorDash, binged whatever was trending on Netflix, and repeated. My apartment looked like a college freshman's crash pad, mattress on the floor, 1 pot, 2 plates, 0 personality. Marcus finally stepped in. Showed up on a random Saturday morning with bagels and refused to leave until I talked. Really talked. I'm not usually the crying type, but that morning? I broke down. Told him things I hadn't even fully admitted to myself yet. That underneath all the anger was just this deep, gnawing sadness. Sad about the years wasted. Sad about the life I thought I was building. Sad that someone I trusted with everything could casually shatter it all. That's when I finally reached out to a therapist. Found a guy through BetterHelp who specialized in betrayal trauma. He didn't feed me any sugar-coated nonsense about healing or forgiveness. Just gave me solid, practical tools to process what happened and slowly move forward. Little things started to shift after that. I bought a rail bed frame. Joined a local rec soccer league. Said yes to a couple social invites instead of making excuses. Started cooking again instead of living off frozen pizzas and protein shakes. 2 months ago, I went on my first date since the divorce. Just coffee. We met through a hiking group I joined. It was awkward as hell. I'd forgotten how to talk to someone new without overthinking every word. But it was a step. The final confrontation. Last week, something unexpected happened. I was at Home Depot buying paint, finally got tired of staring at bare white walls when I bumped carts with someone in an aisle. It was Rachel. She looked different. Shorter hair, simpler clothes. For a second, neither of us said anything. Then she asked if we could talk. Against my better judgment, I said sure. We sat outside on one of those store benches, each of us holding our Home Depot bags like some kind of emotional armor. She started talking. And this time, there was no defensiveness. No blame, no excuses. Just a genuine apology. She admitted she'd hurt me badly. Said she'd been doing therapy trying to figure out why she blew up her own life. And honestly, I kept waiting for the manipulation to kick in. The guilt trip, the seduction attempt, the we can still fix this. But it never came. She just said she was sorry. That she hoped I was doing okay. That she was moving to Chicago for a fresh start, had a job interview, and was staying with a college friend until she got her own place. And here's the weirdest part. I felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. No emotional surge of any kind. Just emptiness. Like finishing a show I stopped caring about halfway through and realizing the finale barely registered. We said goodbye awkwardly. No hug. Just a nod. As she walked away, she turned back and said something I didn't expect. I know it doesn't change anything now, but I really did love you. I just never figured out how to love anyone properly. Not even myself. I watched her drive off, and all I could think about was how 6 months ago that moment would have shattered me. Now it was just part of a Tuesday. Where I am now. My place? It's small, but it's mine. No hidden landmines. No rooms echoing with memories. Just a quiet space that's slowly starting to feel like home. Work's solid. Friends are still around. I'm okay most days. Sometimes I'll hear a song or pass a restaurant we used to go to, and yeah, it still hits a little. But those moments are getting fewer and farther between. Yesterday, I deleted all the affair evidence off my computer. Don't worry, I kept a backup on a drive locked in my safe, just in case. But I don't need all that sitting in my digital life anymore. Felt symbolic, like clearing your browser cache, only it was my life I was clearing out. I'm seeing someone new. Nothing serious yet, but we're taking things slow. She knows the basics, not the ugly stuff. She's kind. Patient with my walls. Doesn't push when I need space. It's early, but it's nice to feel the possibility again. As for Rachel, her mom still weirdly sends me birthday cards and mentioned that Rachel's doing okay in Chicago. Got the job. Found her own apartment. Made some new friends. Part of me's glad, not out of love or anything like that, but because it means we've both turned the page. Finally, the same woman who once laughed about how stupid I was never saw the long game coming. And in the end, she learned the lesson I never had to teach her. That actions have consequences. That reputations are fragile. And that when you destroy trust, sometimes there's no rebuilding it. And me? I learned I'm stronger than I ever gave myself credit for. That starting over doesn't mean you lost. It means you chose better. Because in the end, the best revenge isn't burning their life down, it's building yours back up, brick by brick, stronger than ever before. TLDR. Divorce finalized. Ex-wife moved across the country. Her life fell apart through her own choices. Mine is slowly coming back together. Healing isn't linear, but it's happening. And yeah, I'm gonna be okay.